In Hypixel Skyblock, there are these things called attribute shards. There are very many of them. Amongst them, they have unique traits and stats that they give depending on its level. In this video, we will be talking about the most important ones to have specifically for combat. But let's cut the small talk and get straight to it. Starting off, we have the Barbarian Duke X shard. When maxed, it increases your melee damage by 25%. This is very useful for nearly every aspect of the game, unless you're using something other than a melee. And it's fairly cheap and easy to get, costing only about 6 million coins from the bazaar if you insta-buy them. Next up, we have the Skeletor shards. Similar to the previous shard, when maxed out, it increases all range damage by plus 25% and it costs around 10 million coins. The range damage is just like Terminators, Juju short bows, bows and stuff. Very useful if you're an archer class, but it's also very useful for Kudra. Dude, you need to get this. And then there's the situational damage shards. The chill shard increases all damage dealt to skeletal mobs by 30%, same with the zombie soldier shards, which gives 30% more damage to undead mobs, both of which are extremely useful for when you're in dungeons. And then there's a flaming spider shard, which gives an additional 30% more damage to arthropods, which are just spiders. The bruiser shard is actually very useful if you do Enderman Slayer, which can be a bit tricky once you start off with, but the shard gives 30% more damage to ender mobs. The Strider Surfer shard gives 30% more damage to magmatic mobs. The Drowned shard gives 30% more damage to humanoid mobs, and the Flare shard gives 30% more damage to infernal mobs. Next up we have the Gecko shard, which makes the sharpening attributes of all attributes 20% stronger. The Shellwise shard is especially important because when it's maxed out, it gives you immunity to all knockback in the game, right? That's going to be useful for everything. Slayers, dungeons, Kudra. Whenever you're in combat, you're not going to take knockback. It's a must have. It's not that expensive. You could grind it out yourself. Shellwises are not very hard to get either. Another shard that is pretty handy to have is the Spike shard. What it does is when you're hit, your next hit will do 20% more damage. So it's kind of like Thorns, except you don't deal damage when you're hit. You deal damage when you hit, you know? Next up on the list is going to be the Burning Soul shard. And it's really one of the best because it increases your bonus attack speed by plus 10. And if you didn't know, that basically ups your DPS by 10%. The max cap on it is 100%, so you're going to be doing double DPS. That's just a stat, but the attribute shard gives an additional 10. It's very important. And now this one is going to be a little bit expensive, but it's going to be the Power Dragon shard. It's very important once you are kind of at a late game, mid game stage. When it's maxed, it gives you 30% more damage to mini bosses and bosses. That includes Slayers, Slayer mini bosses, Dungeons mini bosses, all that stuff. Very important to have if you're willing to put the money in. I think it's 24 of those. They're about 1 mil per, so 24 mil. The Thorn shard gives you 15% more damage when you're at full health. It's kind of situational, more of like a one-hit kill type of thing, right? Dominance used to be one of the best attributes to have on your armor back before shards were added. I had it on my Crimson armor. But yeah, it's not that hard to get. You just got to do floor force, right? Really easy to do. Just get some of those. Not expensive either. I think they're a couple 100K. And I meant to say this one previously, but I forgot to. It's going to go into the situational damage shards. It's going to be the Ent shard, which is not the best shard you could get in the game by all means, but it still gives you 30% more damage to woodland mobs. But woodland mobs, like, it's just the things you fight in the Galatea, they don't really have a lot of health. You're going to be able to one-tap them, typically. Actually, it depends, because you're using the axe. Honestly, I'd invest in those, to be honest, because Galatea Part 2, they're probably going to add some stronger bosses. That's probably what I'm going to do. I just thought about that. But, yeah, End Shard, make sure that's maxed. Just get some more damage if you're fishing in the if you're fishing in the Galatea, killing Strider Surfers, you're hunting or whatever. Do what you gotta do. And last but certainly not least, we have the Soul of the Alpha Shard. What this does is every Grandma Wolf combo that you have, you get plus 1% more damage, and that caps at 50% more damage. So if you're struggling to one-tap Ghost, for example, you kill 50 Ghosts, you're going to be doing a little bit more damage, right? It's additive, not multiplicative. I don't know how to say that word. It really doesn't come off my tongue correctly, but you know what I mean, right? Soul of the Alpha Shard, get it, very good. Doing dungeons, you're doing Ghost, doing anything. Like whenever you're doing your combos, it's gonna help you out significantly. Get it. that's going to be all for today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing, liking, and commenting so it boosts the video for other people to see and so it can be helped out. Stay in school, don't do drugs, and be smart. You guys all have a good one, and I will see you in the next one.